What's up, everybody, and welcome back to TGK TV. This is your boy TGK, and today I'm just going to do a brief overview of the upcoming matchup on Saturday between my Dallas Cowboys versus the Seattle Seahawks. So let's jump into it. The Cowboys are 10-6. The Seahawks are 10-6. The Cowboys are favored by 1 point going into this game, which kind of led you to believe that it's a coin flip between the two teams. So Vegas ain't sure of who they think is going to win this game. So it's going to be quite interesting how things develop over the weekend. Now, this is just early on in the week, so that's all they're going to give us. They got a spread of 41.5 points, total points that could be scored. So they're probably looking at a 21-20 type of game. They're not looking at anything over 41.5. So be on the lookout there. They're thinking it might be a low-scoring affair. It might be even lower, or it might be a shootout. You just never know. As far as these two teams, if you could think about in the recent history, Seattle's been a big part of our history, and they've affected a lot of what we've done in the last couple of years, or even going back to 2006. But I do want to touch on our history versus the Seattle Seahawks. So our overall record versus the Seahawks is 10-9. But as far as the last three outings that we had against them, we've lost 3 in a row to the Seattle Seahawks. So as a Cowboys fan, we're pretty much done losing to Seattle. It's time to beat them and humble their asses real quick. You know what I'm saying? Let's go do that. Let's humble them. Let's get this out of the way. Now, let's start off. 2006, which was known as the game where Tony Romo fumbled the snap for the go-ahead field goal, and he got tackled at the 1 yard line, 2 yard line, whatever the case may be. And it forever lived with Tony Romo's career. That's just one of the things that comes to mind when you think of the Cowboys in Seattle. This is the last time that the Dallas Cowboys faced Seattle in the playoffs was in 2006. So 12 years later, fast forward, 13 years later, fast forward 2019, we're facing off against Seattle again with a different cast, different crew. Everything is different from those two teams, but just, so I can attach the history to the two. The last time we did face Seattle in the playoffs was in 2006. Now let's go into the defenses of these two teams. We got Dallas, that is the 7th ranked defense in all of the NFL, and is the 6th scoring defense in all of the NFL. When we talk about Seattle has the 16th ranked defense in all of the NFL and the 11th scoring defense in all of the NFL. So it lets you know that Seattle's defense is a little bit more susceptible to giving up yards and points when it comes to their defense. And our defense has been pretty stout. We've been top 10 all year. Top 7 defense is really good when you think about it. Pretty good when you think of it. So we got the edge when it comes to defense, but it's not going to be the be-all, end-all. So it's going to come down to offense and what we do on the offensive side of the ball. But just to let y'all know, our defense is better than Seattle's. All right, so one part of the game that I think is going to be very pivotal to who wins this game on Saturday night is going to be whose rush defense comes to play. And the reason I say that because Seattle has the number 1 rushing offense, and Dallas has the 10th rushing attack in all the NFL. So whose defense is going to come to play? Whose defense is going to show up? Whose defense is going to stop the run? To me, that's going to play the most pivotal part of all of this. Is who defense can stop who's running attack. Dallas has the 5th ranked defense when it comes to the rushing side of things, and Seattle has a 13th ranked rush defense. So Seattle is a little bit behind us, but again, if we can take advantage of that defense, as far as when you compare the two, Seattle has a weaker rush defense in comparison to ours, so you would think Ezekiel Elliott should be successful in churning up some yards and making an impact when it's rushing the ball. We will get our 2 starters back in Zach Martin and Tyron Smith. So things are looking better as far as our offensive line and our rushing attack. Z got a week off, so things are looking good. It all comes down to who has better rushing attack and really whose defense steps up and stopping the other opponent's rushing attack. Now, with all that being said, as a Cowboys fan, take this into consideration. Ezekiel Elliott in the Week 3 matchup against the Seattle Seahawks averaged 7.9 yards per carry on 16 attempts. To me, as a fan, I don't want to see Zeke rush the ball 16 times. I want to see him rush it like 26 times to 30 times in this game. If you're averaging 8 yards a carry, yeah, maybe he gashed him one time for a big chunk of yardage. That big gash could lead to a touchdown. The thing is, if you average that much, man, just keep feeding them the rock. Let's stick to our identity. Our identity is a running team. Seattle is stuck to it, and they have the #1 rushing attack. I think if we were to stick to our attack, we'll be able to be better than Seattle's because of the level of our offensive line, how powerful they are, and our running back. He's probably one of the top 2-3 running backs in the league. And so, I mean, he has the most yards of rushing this year. So, give the ball to Zeke, and let's make things happen. Let's solidify our rushing attack and take advantage of their weaker defense when it comes to the defensive side of the ball. So, my 2 cents. Now, when it comes to the offensive side of the ball, Seattle is tied for 7th place in scoring offense. They average 26.8 points per game. 7th. They're top 7. And you would think this team ain't supposed to make the playoffs. You know, they lost the Legion of Boom. They don't have this. They don't have that. Yet they have the 7th highest scoring team in the NFL. So it says a lot about Russell Wilson and what he's able to do with the lack thereof of talent that people say he doesn't have. Now, the Dallas Cowboys has this 22nd ranked scoring offense with 21.4 points per game. It's kind of pedestrian if you ask me. You would think as elite as our offensive skills are, as all the players that we have, it'll be a little bit higher. But we're running an attack team, so we don't, we'll keep the opponent under 20 points as long as we score 21. We're good. So we average 21.4 points per game. It might cut it in this game just because they're both rushing teams. But there is a big disparity as far as being ranked tied for 7th versus a 22nd scoring offense. So that obviously is not working into our favor, but just to keep that in mind, knowing the differences of the two teams and how much they score per game. Now let's talk about the rushing attacks, okay? I did talk about Zeke Elliott averaging 7.9 yards versus Seattle back in week 3, but let's be honest, Seattle has the #1 rushing attack in all of the NFL, and Dallas has the 10th rushing attack in all of the NFL. And that's why I said it's very pivotal when it comes to the rushing defense. Seattle, #1 in rushing, man. You wouldn't think it, but they're #1 in rushing. They have a clear identity. They will run the ball. In Dallas, we can have a clear identity. We don't tend to stick to it whenever it's going good. It's just weird. You got your boy Scott Linehan messing things up out there. So that's as far as our rushing offense. We're ranked 10th in rushing, and Seattle's ranked 1st. It's a big difference. Even though we have an amazing running back that was #1 in rushing all year. So they have all of the players. They got Carson. I mean, you got Wilson that could scramble and get yards. Then you got Davis. So you got a plethora of running backs over there that can really do damage in this game. But again, if our rushing defense, steps up and stop their rushing attack, we should have a really, really good chance at winning this game. All right, guys. So now that we got the overview out the way, I want to tap into a few items when you think of Seattle versus the Cowboys. So think 2006, right? The Romo fumble, missed the field goal, got tackled at the 2. That happened in 2006. And then the moment Seattle became a real contender was kind of like after, Golden Tate just completely destroyed Sean Lee on that block. And then when Cowboys made a statement in 2014 and going into their house and beating them, we made a statement of our own. And then you fast forward into the preseason game with the Cowboys versus Seattle where they injured Romo and took him out. You got that. And then you got the last 2 years, basically. So you got week 3 of this year where we lost. And then last year when, I think it was week 16, if the Cowboys would have won, we would have been able to remain in the playoff contention. But we dropped the ball, and Dak had a pick 6, and we definitely got destroyed by Seattle. And so that was unfortunate last year. And I think a couple years ago we also had I forgot the player's name, but he got injured on a kickoff return, and I believe he didn't play for one anymore after that. I'm sorry, I'll probably have a little stats right here to tell you who that player was. I just can't remember his name off the bat, but I remember there was a rumor like that Des Bryant was like mocking him, whatever the case may be, but that was false. And so the Cowboys in Seattle have quite a bit of a rivalry now that you think of it. And this game is a culmination of all of that. It's like, all right, we're even records. We're identical teams. No one's clearly better than the other. This is the most intriguing matchup of the weekend. And I'm not talking just because I'm a Cowboys fan. I'm legit. This is literally the most intriguing matchup of the weekend. You guys, anybody out there, this is the matchup of the weekend. And it's gonna be big time, man. Can Dak Prescott step up under pressure and deliver a victory for Dallas? Last week he had house money. He could do whatever he wanted. We were still in the playoffs. Go out there and just throw the ball around. Now, can Dak Prescott make a few plays in this game just to win it? I think it's going to come down to Dak Prescott making a few throws, but ultimately it's going to come down to our rushing defense stopping their running attack. So yeah, man, I'm going to have a few more episodes coming out on some Cowboys coverage coming up this week. I'll probably have 2 videos dropping in one night. Stay tuned. If y'all want me to drop any type of content, any particular content y'all want me to drop, let me know. But I do have a couple of videos coming soon on the Cowboys versus Seattle and certain things that I think will be playing factors into the outcomes of this game and what leads up to it and the fallout. So it's gonna be an interesting week. Gonna be a big time game. I'm excited, man. I'm removing all of my Dak hate, and I am fully supporting the team. And we're gonna go and we're gonna try to get this damn victory and somehow get to the Super Bowl and hopefully go win the Super Bowl. That's the ultimate goal. And all of us Cowboys fans, we should all be on our team side and supporting. It's the playoffs. It's enough of the whole back and forth banter. Let's go and get this victory. Just be united as a fan base for right now, and then just it's the playoffs, so we all got to come together. All right. And everybody in that stadium, I need y'all loud as hell. I know we're the wine and cheese crowd, but let's not be that crowd, okay? Let's not do that. It's been your boy TGK, guys. I'm gonna catch you on the next one.